Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for listening to Bootleg Like Jazz. I'm your host, Q, and we have the lovely, the awesome, the amazingly talented Latinas Rising organization here in the building tonight for our interview. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
So my name is Tasha James. I'm a RGBT native.
And I'm Edna Mojica, born and raised in New York. And that's right.
The Valley didn't get that, but it's okay. He's at it. You stayed.
She's going for me. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And traditions, language, food from Dominican Republic.
So you said RG...
Rio Grande Valley.
Rio Grande Valley.
So
Gotcha.
Valley.
All right.
South Texas.
Yeah. Hola, hola, bienvenidos. Today we're kicking off a new series called hashtag AfroLatinHTX. Hashtag AfroLatinHTX is going to highlight, is going to spotlight Afro-Latinos, Afro-Latino culture capital, establishments, events, anything that falls within that sphere. And also promoting tourism within Houston, Texas. This is provided in part by a grant funded by the city of Houston. So your boy is official now. You know what I'm saying? So let's welcome our guests from Latinas Rising. They are hosting their first annual LatinaCon this Saturday, November 9th, 2019. And you're going to watch this video before that. Right here in Houston, Texas. Tickets are still available.
Yes, they are filling out pretty quickly. And it's actually the first Latinx conference in Houston. So it's a really, really big deal. Pretty historic.
So let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, what is Latinx?
So Latinx is supposed to be more inclusive, kind of encompass pretty much everyone, especially our LGBTQ. And so that's what. It sounds very trendy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
it's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's supposed to be more inclusive. So especially like we're both Afro-Latina, so we feel a little covered in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
My students were giving me pushback. Dominicans are not black. You know, what do y'all say to that?
Well,
not Dominicana, but hey, that's your question.
So Dominican Republic has a lot of history. Remember, we were colonized. Before the ships came into North America and South America, they stopped in the Caribbean and did their thing, you know. So we have our history is our food, our history, our music is engraved from Africa.
Yeah.
So we are indigenous. We have our own identity, but we're stripped away little by little.
Yeah.
But we keep us alive by decolonizing and by us talking our language, by us talking slang of the Dominican Republic, keeping our music live. The more we talk about history, the more we talk about culture, that's how we decolonize what they did there. So
I like that. The more we talk about it, that we decolonize. I love that. So what's the theme of LatinaCon 2019? What's the theme? What's the goal?
So the goal is really, if anyone's followed Latinas Rising, our goal is to be boots on the ground in the community. So we do a lot of events regarding mental health, regarding social justice, any social justice issues, but it's empowerment, right? So for those that are marginalized and disenfranchised. And this right here is really showcasing the Latinx individuals in our community. They're really doing the work and just really celebrating them. And we have some really heavy hitter panelists. Like we have really great panelists that are coming through. So
can you give us a little
snippet of who's coming?
Taste of who's coming?
Well, guess what?
Them.
You're going to be there.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
You're very boots on the ground. So
Absolutely.
definitely we have some great vendors. Warehouse 72 is actually the facility or the location we're having it. And so we have Rocio Castro, right? That's Castro's mom. So, Castro's running for president, right?
Mhm.
So that's his mom, but she has a lot of
You're talking about Julian.
correct. I don't want to get the twins
Julian
confused,
Castro,
right?
yeah.
And so, but yeah, she is actually has done a lot of work in San Antonio, and especially in the community. And so we're really excited to have her and just to really celebrate her. And we have a mental health panel, which I'll be moderating, but we have a few licensed professionals, and we actually have a PhD candidate, and we have the Afro Latinx identity panel, which Edna will be moderating. And so we have a YouTube beauty consultant, and we have
I think Miss Honduras.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I saw that.
yeah. We have a young lady from Colombia, and so we have quite a bit of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about LatinaCon this year, our first year, it's very diverse across the board. We have a Colombian person. We have Salvadorian. We have Mexico. We have Dominican. We have Puerto Rico.
Honduran.
Yes. Garifuna.
I wanted to ask more about that. Garifa now.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. It's just great because we're breaking that society cycle of what a Latina looks like.
For sure.
When you look at social media, when you look at the news, when you look at novelas, what do you see? Let me ask you.
Do you want to know?
You and I, right? Like,
Not at all.
Yeah, it's
Not at all.
definitely that's one of the biggest things that Latinas Rising is really big in being inclusive. And so,
Absolutely.
as co-founders, that has been really important for us to have people that generally would not have that platform.
How did you two meet? How did you two find, create this, become the founders of this? What was that process like?
It
Yeah.
was a universe combination.
Yeah. So Sol Macias is actually the founder, and she was very gracious to invite us to be co-founders. And this is actually it was developed and created out of love for children, especially children of color that go through injustices and never get justice. And so that inspired her. She's actually a former HPD officer that worked in the domestic violence unit for years.
Yeah, I saw you have a panel discussion on law and advocacy as well.
Yeah. And so, and we have a little bit of back history as to how we got to Warehouse. I think that would be really interesting to share that, just so you can see like how much has been put into having LatinaCon. And
you got the mic. You got the mic.
Yeah. So, Sol Macias, her name literally, derived of the sun. Women generally gravitate to her, and it's just been this movement that has taken off since 2017. And so, long story short, she met Edna through an anthology that they were actually putting together. If you want to discuss that.
Yeah.
And then we got introduced.
She, what I would like to point out that she retired as a police officer to dedicate herself to social justice. And she started out creating a book called Latinas Rising, because it came from there. She was tired, when she was an investigator, she was tired of seeing those stories just pile up. And then just stayed there. And she had a heavy heart with these stories about now what happens to these stories. Some get solved, some don't, some just stay there getting dust. So she decided to gather some women and say, you know what, our stories are important. She did research to find out what books are out there to really say what our stories, and there really wasn't, unless it's a scholar or professional type of setting of a Latina written book. So this book has a series of maybe 15 stories of different women that come from different backgrounds that endured some type of hardship. And not only to tell our story, but we are telling our story with the focus of empowering, with the focus of whoever's reading this, let it be man, woman, or child, would get inspiration to either come out of that story, come out of their situation, saying they could identify with that person and somehow use those stories to empower out there.
Yeah.
We want to use this book as an educational type of setting as well.
Yeah.
I know we were in Barker Ripley, and you guys did a
Baker Ripley.
curriculum.
Mhm.
So
Over the summer.
we're using this to create a platform. Latinas Rising was created to create platforms for people to be able to speak about some tough subjects that they can't, or they wouldn't, or they're taboo in their homes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely sounds like you guys are based off of a book, which is pretty awesome. You mentioned Garifuna. Can you explain a little bit more about what that is and what that term means?
So,
Did I say it right, first of all?
yes.
Yeah.
So I know that I believe 3 of our women that are going to be part of the panelists are Garifuna. So we're going to learn a little bit more of that. My understanding is the Honduras country has a community that are Garifunas. So I'm not too. I don't want to get into it and devalue what Garifunas is, but we're going to learn more at LatinaCon.
Yeah. What are the, like, so 3 years, 4 or 5 years down the road, what's the vision for LatinaCon? What's the vision for Latinas Rising?
Yeah,
Nice.
National, definitely national. We have
International.
people that are international. I know there's been interest out of the Dominican Republic, but
That's what's up.
chapters, people are showing interest in having a chapter in their state, and so it's wherever the universe takes us. It's something that we've learned that a lot of our events and a lot of our efforts always tends to come from in a very organic place, in which you will be surprised, like how when you're vulnerable, people tend to gravitate and really want to help. And so to get back to how we end up at Warehouse 72, which we're really, really grateful to them that they opened their location to us.
Shout out to you all. Thank you.
We actually lost our location about a month and a half ago. And
what was the original place?
Growthly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we lost the location, so we scrambled, right?
A month and a half before.
Yeah.
Their loss, your gain.
Yeah. And when I tell you it's been like a labor of love, we have a team of about 15 women putting all their efforts and time into having this happen in Houston. And so, but yeah, we lost the location, and so we scrambled for a little bit, and then here we are, and they have been really gracious. And the art is coming from their location. I don't know if you noticed, there's these murals, and actually one of our members is that's her on the mural.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
yeah, they're pretty cool. Those murals,
they're beautiful.
Throughout that document you sent me, right? The vendor document.
Yeah. So those are like not.
That was amazing.
Oh, I just thought of this image in my head. They're actual individuals that reside in Houston that are doing some great work, and so here we are, and then. Again, the universe, like we met you over the summer. You've been gracious enough as well to have us here.
Afro Latin Fest, right?
Yeah.
That's where it all started for us, the Afro Latin Fest. Shout out Raul and Strictly Street Salsa and Flam Art.
Yeah. And that panel discussion was very empowering as well. Yeah.
You can find that on Bootleg Like Jazz as well, that panel discussion.
And it was interesting because Latinas Rising, we have gone to different events here in the nation. We're going to Boston. We're going to
y'all been
going to Dallas. I mean, everywhere.
Boots on the ground for
Everywhere
sure.
We go. Our intention is to network, and network not the here's my card. How are you? Thank you. The network is this is who we are. What are you doing? How can we collaborate?
So those are your goals. That's your mindset when you go into networking events. Is like I want to accomplish this, that, da.
So the main goal is to. It started so organically. Just with a book, let's get our stories, and it just grew into this good monster, cookie monster type of thing. That now we have to feed the demand. The demand is we want what you have. Our brand is about looking at us and being able to identify us. Oh, I hear your story. I see you. We're talking about domestic violence. We're talking about sexual assault. We're talking about colorism. We're talking about immigration. We're talking about subjects that are real in your home. Yeah. We're not just out there putting events to just be out there. We're intentionally seek places that are intimate. So our panel discussions are.
And that the social justice part is what has.
Yeah, I thought that was dope when I saw that. We're
kind of the standalone on that. And in the intersection, we're social media and social justice, right? we're yet to see any other organization, and we're wanting to become nonprofit.
Yes.
And that's our goal for 2020. And but utilizing social media, but also to bring awareness.
What do you think about cancel culture?
So I like Charlemagne the God a lot.
Oh, okay.
So,
One more time,
like, I was
because I study. Oh, buddy, I study Breakfast Club.
You know
they
what?
do some dope stuff, baby.
Yeah, they really do.
You can curse on Boule like that. They do some
Okay.
dope shit. You know what I'm saying? We're grown folks here.
Yeah. And when I think about cancel culture, I think about Chrisette Michele, right? And I think it could be so cruel, especially when it's cancel culture so easy from behind the screen.
Right.
From your phone.
Right.
And then you just kind of walk away, right? You said the meanest thing that you could say, and that's it. But there was a responsibility. Like, you can influence someone to hurt themselves or
True.
to end up, in the hospital because maybe they have a panic attack. And so I think it's irresponsible, especially when so many of us are trying to, we have careers, or we have, that's how they make their money, through social media or whatever. And then we just cancel. Right. To me, it's horrible, to be honest with you. I don't.
Did you want to chime in?
I mean, we're all influencers somehow. People that jump.
Yeah, I like that.
To social media, we have an influence. What type of influence is up to what type of message we want to put out there. So who you are is going to come out as that influencer. So you have to be mindful of what you're doing and saying. Everybody's on social media, even children.
Yeah.
Everybody walks around with some type of device and locks in. So yeah, you have a responsibility.
Could cancel culture work? And if so, what does that look like? How could that work?
I mean,
for you as well.
We're trying to cancel Trump, and we can't.
Right.
You have so many people. I mean, I think, to me, it just does more harm, to be honest with you. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, what's your thought process on it?
Well, mine is, I think it could be effective. Okay. We need to come up with a plan. But I think, we would need like leaders. We need people who could like, I'm spearheading this. This is what we're doing. This is the time frame, and this is the results we're looking for. Okay. As opposed to, H&M had a black kid wear a shirt that had a monkey on it. We're not buying no more. But I go to H&M, none but black folks walk out with bags. And it's like, what are we doing? I think that's what it is. I think there needs to be like a clear guideline of what we're canceling, why, what the terms are, what that looks like, and then move on from that. And then like having someone, organization, individual, that's like that point person there. So that's what I'm thinking.
So do you think that we should collaborate and team up and have these conversations and say, this is what we're going to do in our individual platforms, but this is the goal? For
sure. And let me also just say this, like, there's been things that people have said that I'm like, I don't think they should be fired for, but I think they should go through sensitivity training. I think they should go through this, that, and the other. But just because you fire someone who's a bigot doesn't mean they stop being a bigot. Because the reality is, in the United States of America, there are people that identify and support bigots. How do you change a bigot? I think you change a bigot through education. Their kids having kids with men and women they didn't like, and they're forced to like deal with their grandchildren being of these different identities. I think stuff like that.
And I think
that's just my opinion.
So like, but how could you to do
how do you
that?
enforce that?
Yeah, how do you enforce that? Because that will require like money and educating folks, bringing folks, and to me, a lot of that will be temporary. It's just gonna be just like the whole Starbucks thing. They had this one day where they
I had Starbucks today,
right?
Right.
I mean, and I'll get mad because they put like this much, and I'll be like, I'm not coming back. And then it's like winter season, and then they have. But anyways, so I mean, I think that's a good idea, but I think it's always like this temporary Band-Aid, just like cancel culture. It's gonna pass.
I think sometimes we focus on the big picture, on getting everyone, and I think if you start with individual, and then you talk, and then you start with little groups, and be intentional where you're going, who you're talking to, when, and that will make that effect, that ripple effect. They'll talk about it. They'll do a group, and eventually it'll grow out, because
Yeah.
we at one point we cannot just reach
Cancel
everybody.
Right.
Everybody has their own expertise circle. They have their own social circle, so it could influence in some different ways. It just has to be with a plan.
Yeah. Well, speaking of talking, mental health is on, is on the panel. Why is that important to talk about? Why did you create space for that?
I mean, because it's not discussed in our communities. It's often
Not open. And honestly,
Yeah, because of the stigmas and a lot of, not only that, I'm a licensed professional counselor, and a lot of time,
Whoop whoop.
right? Yay!
Hey.
And then you have student debt.
Hey, well, if Elizabeth Warren gets in or Bernie,
Hey,
it could be gone.
Right? And so, but a lot of times mental health is not as well, the healing component is not initiated, or because of lack of access, right? A lot of times people just want their basic needs met. And so, but as far as the mental health component, we really do focus that a lot, because we in our community, which anxiety and depression we have high rates of that, right? And so, but again, it's not discussed. We're afraid. There's stigmas. You have people that are very high functioning, that they turn it on, they get to work, they do really well, and then they get home and they're going through an anxiety attack, or they're having some type of depressive symptom. And so there's different areas that we'll be touching on that day. And so we actually have social worker and 2 licensed professional counselors, as well, actually 3. And so I don't know if you want to expand on that as well.
and I want to say that, to go back to your question as why is it so important. So let's go back a little bit. In the Hispanic Latino culture, let's just put it like that, because it's a universal thing. We don't grow up with, let's go to the counselor. We don't grow up to having those conversations about mental health. That's not even a word we kind of use. Mental
It's
health.
new.
That's
Like Afro Latino.
not
It's
possible.
new.
Traditionally, we have our own practices of mental health wellness.
Could you
right?
expound on that?
Yeah, like absolutely. Like if you think about it, indigenous people, like very spiritual, right? Or and I think about music, how our ancestors really use music to connect and heal. And so those
that's
things we
definitely proven.
already innately we have.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's been colonized, and so it's like we're reclaiming that.
Yes.
And I think that's where, again, social media we intersects with like the social justice part. You have a lot of people doing the work of like decolonizing, like, hey, mental health, that's ours. Like we initiated. You think about yoga and meditating, we were already doing that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's just really reclaiming that and our thought process, and being more aware of how systemically we are affected in our jobs, like the microaggressions and whatnot. So that affects your mental health, right? How you are able to show up. Like we have to process double all the time. I can't just show up fully with my big old hair, right? I have to think, well, what is my boss going to think with me showing up my hair like this? That's a mental health issue, right? Like
That's anxiety. Sounds like it to me.
Yeah, I have to double process. We as people of color have to process things double, like all the time. Like how do you show up? You can't be reactive because then you're assumed you're a threat, right? That
For sure. Or aggressive. Yep.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
So there's a lot of work now that is being done, that it's allowing people of color, brown and black, to seek mental health assistance and help. It's bringing the holistic part and the educational counseling part together. So if I go to the counseling of domestic violence, let's just talk about domestic violence real quick. A domestic violence victim, she becomes a survivor. She's out of that situation. Now she needs assistance. She needs to talk. She needs somewhere to go. So where does she go? Yeah, there's, and I'm talking people that are not Americanized in that particular place, okay? Because there's a lot of us, we're born and raised here, and that part still we don't go and tab into. So you are looking for counselors that maybe look like you, that are in your neighborhood, that are maybe in the community that you live in. And it let's talk real. It wasn't like that a while ago. It was primarily the white folks that really had that taken over. So now we have people of color, black and brown, stepping in, being educated, being professionals, educating themselves, and bringing the holistic part into their counseling.
Yeah.
If they are religious and they pray, okay, you could pray and be religious, drink your tea, because we're big in teas, and have counseling. And that part about counselors, I remember that you couldn't talk about yourself. It was about the other person. You really can, as a counselor, you could talk more about this. You can't really talk about yourself because it's about the person you counsel.
Yeah.
How
I mean, it's honoring both,
Latinos,
right?
we like to connect. Before a business meeting, we even talk about business. We got to know about your family, what you ate, where you going, where you coming from, and then we talking about business.
That's culture. It sounds like
that's culture. So when you're sitting in a counseling session and this is a stranger you're talking about, and you're not really knowing this person, but this person is expecting you to talk about themselves.
So it's definitely. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
So it sounds like, for someone, it sounds like you're advising someone who's seeking mental health help to find someone that looks like them, come from a community like them. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, and one thing that I've always encouraged any client, and when I'm meeting with the new client, is, if you don't feel comfortable with me, that's okay. You can go with someone else that you can connect with, because you're going to bear the most difficult things, traumas with that person. But generally, it's important to connect with someone that looks like you, or that shares the same culture. Just because there's some nuances, they're going to understand, right? And I'll give you a prime example.
Go ahead,
sometimes I'll go with the client, and if I go to their residence, me quieren dar un cafecito or whatever they have.
What's that?
Coffee, right? So they're gonna offer, right? And I think about, right?
That's why I asked. That's why I asked. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning.
And so,
Nothing fell.
no, it's just an earring.
Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
No, you gotta put your earrings on. You gotta look fab.
Or a tea, and we are taught as you're going through your education. There's this right? There's this ethical thing. But that can come across as rude in certain cultures, right? And so, I'm gonna sit with you and I'm gonna have a tea. Guess what? That's gonna break barriers down. You may feel more comfortable to share with me.
Yeah.
So when I say honor our traditions and our practices, a clinician of color can do that with someone that looks like them, right? And so, and that's one of the things that we'll actually tackle in our mental health panel, is how do we integrate that? How do we honor that but still within the boundary?
What do you say to somebody who's like, representation doesn't matter? That's for you too as well, Edna.
And who is that?
So who is saying that?
Who's that?
Yeah, who's saying that?
I'm playing white man's devil's advocate right here. Thank you, Charlamagne the God, for that. Kinfolk, listen, bro, I watch y'all stuff. I like y'all, man. Y'all doing a good job.
Real.
But yeah,
they're real. And I think that if you don't come from a place of identifying yourself with that other person, or struggles, or some type of ism, you are not going to be able to even think about that. Privileged people don't walk around thinking, are they looking at me, or what am I wearing? Am I wearing the right suit? Am my hair too big? Don't think about that. We have to think about all of that and then some. We have to come up with
2 times is better.
Mm-hmm.
We got to step up. We got to put our shoulders back. We got to think about these extra things that those people that are privileged do not.
Yeah.
So we have to identify that. We have to know who we are when we walk in a room, and then we're expected to act a certain way, to be a certain way. So we have to hold our own at all times. I think we walk around with these pressures that we just learn how to live with.
Right. It's true. That's
real. We also
real.
have to be cognizant of our privilege. And I think about that as a therapist, that sometimes I can assume we can do all these memes on social media, get therapy and healing, right? But we have to be aware that a lot of people don't even have access to internet to see those memes.
Fair enough.
So what are we doing? Again, taking it back to Latinas Rising, that's what we're like, when I say boots in the ground, and a lot of stuff that we do is at no cost to our community. Mm-hmm. Over the summer, we did a curriculum at Baker,
Ripley?
Yeah. And it was like for a couple of weeks, and we met with adolescents and teens. And it was like an empowerment, and we did a vision board with them, and we all dedicated a day of the week that we all would go. And so again, bringing that service to our communities, because a lot of times they don't have access.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we have to create these opportunities. We have to create what we want to bring. If they don't host that, then we have to host it in their place. We have to go out. That's why we are expanding. Not only
we can't let nobody else do for us. That's so true. I'm glad you said that.
That's right. Now I want to go back because I want to highlight you a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
No, you have to say it in French. I watched one of your videos.
You've been watching it?
We watched.
No, just that one
no,
video.
let's be real. When you're an underdog.
Je m'appelle Tasha. Comment allez-vous?
Je m'appelle Terrell. Je m'appelle Q.
And that's
Enchanté. Quel âge as-tu?
Ça va bien?
Ça va bien, très bien. Oui, oui.
Bueno, yo no sé lo que están hablando. So I'm gonna
That
talk
is
Spanish.
it. That's all I got.
Está muy bien. Yo digo que me llamo Terrell.
That's right.
Q. Yo tengo 18 años.
Yeah, right. You didn't say that.
Yesterday, 10 years ago.
Mentira.
No, but it's a real thing. As an underdog, up and coming, you don't know who's watching you. You know who's listening. You don't know who likes you. So when I see that, I am happy that, okay, my voice, what I'm doing is in rooms, is on the lips of people I haven't met or I haven't seen or talked to or whatever. And that's a beautiful thing.
So one of the things that captivated me about you was that you were so real and open about your experience as a Black man in the Latino community.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, what? It reminds me of my husband. My husband's American Black. And we say
interesting. You say American Black. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's not so Dominican Black.
Because I want to talk about that too, Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have these conversations all the time, how we call the blended families of the soul food and the Latinos come together. And we have these conversations that are interesting because you're walking around as a Black man embracing that culture,
which is taboo now. It's crazy to me.
You mean taboo now?
Yeah,
like,
talk to me.
So there was a time that it wasn't.
I mean, and at a time, I never would have thought there would ever been anything called Afro Latino, or that I'd be shocked that there's pushback to that, because it does make sense actually.
You know what it is, that it's a new thing because society made it a new thing, but we've always been here.
And this is a great. I want to talk about.
Say that again.
Go ahead.
You've always been here, and I want to give
just got here.
Yeah, hello. So yeah, you transported us everywhere. But anyway,
I love
when we say Afro Latinos now, Afro Latina, Afro Hispana, and people still struggle with that.
And that's going to be one of the questions, like, when did you start identifying as?
Yeah,
right.
And I remember
that was when I had
first conversation that I had about someone telling me, "Oh no, but you're Afro Latina." I looked at them and said, "What? What are you talking about?" Because within our own communities, we are. I was brought up, tú eres Dominicana. You're Dominican. That's your culture. That's who you are. Plain and simple. So my parents and my grandparents, they did not explain to me or educate me about where I really come from. I had to really make the effort to explore and look at my own resources. Yes, they showed me my culture, my music, my food, and my traditions. Yes, I appreciate that because that's who I am. Living in first generation born living in New York, I had the culture of Dominican and the subculture of being New York. So there's a subculture of New Yorkers, how they say,
right,
and Dominicans,
right,
in New York. But anyway. I could not accept you telling me I was Black. I was like, I don't understand this.
Fascinating.
What are you talking about? And it had
then it's by regions too. Like,
fascinating.
Because we've talked about it, how negrita, like I struggle. Don't call me negrita. Like for me, I start thinking like Negro, right?
Interesting.
Like, I struggle with that, and we've talked about that. It's amazing. Like you can have what we all Black folks, right? And everyone's gonna have this different perspective on even in the language.
Yes.
And so
and morena and negrita is a term of endearment. My baby calls me negrita morenita. Now he knows what that means. But if I would have called him negrito moreno, he would be like, "What are you? Yo, what's good, right?" But you have to educate the community about this. You have to have these conversations, and it's not even a platform of let me educate you with. No, it's just talking about our experiences and where we come from and who we are and how we embrace it. But I had to embrace that simply because I needed to be educated where I came from. And this was, I remember it was a white person, a black person, and a Latina giving this class. And I'm sitting there like, are these people crazy? Where are they coming from?
Representation.
But it had to happen that way because they were trying to reach everyone really to educate that. But yeah.
Wrapping up.
We're already wrapping up.
Yeah.
We're having fun. You know, it's a little nervous at the beginning.
But I need to give you a shout out. Wait a minute.
I thought you did.
No, I haven't.
Before you do that, shout out everybody watching us on Facebook Live. We had some new people. Mad love to you. Appreciate you, Terrence. I got your text. All right, go ahead.
So, speaking of how we are expanding from Texas, we are wanting to do chapters all over the nation and international. And one of the chapters that we're going to create is in Dominican Republic. We're people are seeing, people are watching, like you were saying. So next year, mid-year, we're going to have a chapter started in DR, and Terrell's going to be there with us filming it. We're going to have conversations about food,
music,
yes,
history.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
We should just finish the show there. No, I got a few more questions. This was something I've always, I really, was really curious about when I read about it. What do you guys mean by resilient communities?
Tea.
Edna.
That sounds like a drink. Tea Edna.
I like that.
Double shot of Tea Edna. Double steep it, baby. What's your idea of a resilient community?
We are some resourceful people.
Yes.
Like that to me is resilience, that even with very little, we can do a lot. And so
look at soul food.
And look at LatinaCon. When I tell you we were very limited, we had no funds. Like we did not have a budget. And so, and it's morphed into this beautiful event. And so that is resiliency, that even though we had like these doors that would open and they would close, we kept on pushing. And that's our people, that's how we are. We continue to push, but the little that we have, we make a lot. And so that's the resiliency of our people and our communities. I don't know if you want to expound on that or.
And it's just when you come together and you said it, we had nothing and we put all our little nothing and made this. So when people know what we're doing, they see our efforts, they believe in us individually and as a group, people start giving out their hearts. And it's not always money. The venue was opened up to us.
Did you guys pay for it? Is that going too deep?
The food, and it's really good food.
Yo, that's a
spaghetti house.
It's a deal, a steal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's not everything's monetary. People that are coming to speak, I think those are blessings. Yeah. I think that's a honor.
That's
right
cultural
there.
capital as well.
No.
That's another benefit.
So, when you say resilience, we were born with that. We got to make it however we can, and we come from tribes. Tribes that come from groups. What do you have a tribe for? You have a leader. You have people that need inclusivity, people that need support. You got the elders teaching the youngins wisdom. That's what it's all about. That's where we really come from. So that's what we're creating. We're creating a tribe. We're creating community. So that's where that comes from. When you put all your resources together, what can you not do?
Our people, a lineage of resiliency. So that's really coming across in this event. We're really excited. As you can see.
Is this, so I know it's LatinaCon, Latina Rising, but can men come?
Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
And if
Buy
so,
your ticket.
what do you want men to take away from this? You kind of talked about what you want women to take from it, but what do you want men to take away from this if they come or if they watch on the Facebook live feed, which will be here Saturday all day long, and we might have to do some technical breaks, but yeah. But what do you want men to take away from it?
I do want to say something. 75% of the ladies that are swimming in Latinas Rising has a man beside them. Absolutely. And they all support us strongly. They're there. They show up. They drive us.
I love you said beside.
They are there.
Yeah.
So without them, Not that we wouldn't be here, and I said beside on purpose, because when we walk together, that's how you prosper. Because when you have peace, your first testimony is in your house. When you have peace in your home, when you have that collaboration in your home and that love and that where can you not go? What can you not do?
I love that.
That's that first piece you have there, and that's where you take it out. So you might see us just a bunch of women together all the time, but who's standing beside us? Who's that person that takes care of our kids for us to be sitting here today? Who's that person that cooks? My husband came and he met us here with a bowl of food that he cooked for me. I mean, and he's a strong man. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I wouldn't cross him.
We want our men to.
I don't want no smoking folk. You know what I'm saying?
And we're gonna have our men talking.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Without our
nice
men,
to
they
incorporate
need our
that, to
presence.
have men on our panel. I think there needs to be representation.
Yeah.
We've talked about, Sol has talked about potentially having.
Who's Sol, real quick?
Sol is the founder, and we're the co-founders. But we're all founders in this situation.
In my head, you're all founders.
Yeah. Having support groups for our men. But definitely we would like to have men on our panel. But when you come, it's going to be such a great feminine energy. And when I say heavy hitters, like these women are doing amazing work.
I saw them.
They inspire. It doesn't matter like men or woman. It's just being in the presence of people that are doing great work to change the narrative in our communities. And they give, that are very selfless. I don't think it needs to be a man or woman there, right? It's just having your people there in general.
That's right. But there's something about a presence of a man supporting women or women subjects, women, things that we care about. Because that says, we are strong enough to say we care about those subjects.
And going back to representation, me seeing him do this for you and support you is beautiful for me.
My husband's home with the baby.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's awesome.
Give him a shout out.
Yeah. We got that time requirement thing. We got to run.
We want to have to.
I hate to do this, but
so,
hey, stay right here. Subscribe. Follow me.
That's right.
Saturday, we're bringing you live coverage of it. This video will also be available. Where can people find you all online?
So Latinas Rising Facebook page. We do have a web page, but you have to do like Latinas-Rising because if you don't, it's going to take you to a porn site. So be very mindful. So Latinas Rising on Instagram.
Rising.com.
And then we have a LatinaCon Facebook page as well. So you can kind of see like what's happening next. Friday we'll be setting up, we'll be live as well. And so you can kind of have a behind the scenes on
where can people get tickets?
So Eventbrite and just type in LatinaCon and it'll pop up.
Yes.
Yeah.
LatinaCon or LatinaCon 2019? Just Latina.
Both.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If you I didn't forgot the 2019, you'll be okay.
Hey, this is your boy Q. Thank you for watching, or if you're also listening, thank you for listening. Do not forget to subscribe. And hey, check it out. Listen, if the big corporations were funding this, we couldn't talk about this stuff. If you like these conversations, these topics, you want more, invest. Go to patreon.com/BLLJ. Donate $2, $3.50 a month. That way, we can control what we talk about instead of let the people with, the big corporations come in and tell us, hey, no, don't talk about this or talk about that instead. Thank you once again for watching. Subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, use the hashtag BLLJ. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias. Merci beaucoup por abandone. I don't know how to say thank you in Spanish for following us, for subscribing.
Yeah. Gracias.
Awesome. Hey, stay tuned to Boule Like Jazz. We got great things coming up.